Welcome to the Wolverine Digest podcast, the best spot for objective and authentic coverage of Michigan athletics. If you want open dialogue, honest opinions, and in-depth coverage of the maize and blue, this is the podcast for you. And now, here's your host, Brandon Brown, joined as always by Chris Breiler.
I just want to start by saying go blue.
Well, it is Saturday game day, and yes, little different broadcast time. I hope nobody lost any sleep or cried themselves to sleep last night because Chris and I weren't here at 7 o'clock as we had intended. If you're looking live at one Chris Breiler, you might start to piece together why we had a little bit of a timing conflict. And Chris, before we went late, I'm reading the comments before we went late. Before we went live, I talked to you. I said, well, I didn't know how much we wanted to disclose. I didn't know how much we wanted to say. Well, it looks like the giant cat is perhaps out of the bag a little bit over there. So I'll let you say what you want to say about what exactly you're doing, and we'll go from there.
Well, first of all, let me just say that, apologies for going late. We kind of had a set time, but we when you're at the mercy of the U.S. government and the military, you kind of have to go on their schedule. So, we've been teasing this for a little bit. I'm extremely excited about it. The Michigan Army National Guard is going to be doing the flyover today with 3 Blackhawks, and your boy is going to be up in one of them filming the flyover. So we've talked about how incredible it's been to partner with the National Guard, the Michigan National Guard, and some of the there you go. Like that's going to be my get up today. That's going to be my get up today. Tethered,
your favorite media outlet could never.
But
yes, sir.
Some of the coolest moments in my life have been due to working with the Michigan Army National Guard, and today is going to be a lot of the guys that are on my helicopter, and I've talked to some of the other pilots around here, have never done this, have never flown over, much less a full stadium. So I think it's going to be an incredible experience, and could not be more grateful to these guys for allowing me to, partner with them to be a part of it. Just a couple of dinks usually in our basements, Brandon. And here I am about to board this beautiful helicopter and fly over Michigan Stadium, man. It's going to be a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity, no doubt. So
awesome, dude. I mean, we got to fly in the Chinooks earlier this year.
Yeah.
Incredible. But, dude, over the full there's so much red tape and things you have to go through to be able to fly anything anywhere near that stadium with people in it. Yep. So I'm jealous. I'm excited for you. They didn't need 2 dinks. Just one was enough. and
I will say this. Shout out to Jared Johnson. He's like my contact there. He does a lot of stuff with NIL. He's been fantastic to work with. I sat in on the briefing this morning, and part of the reason I wanted to document this is because, I don't think I've ever seen a flyover of Michigan Stadium documented from the perspective that we're going to be able to provide. But also, it feels like, these guys just get in the helicopters, they fly over, and they come back. Like I sat in the briefing room, and there's contingency plans, it's formation stuff. There's all kinds of planning that goes into this. So it's been pretty incredible to see the behind the scenes stuff, and can't wait to be able to bring that to you guys.
Absolutely. Well, that's awesome. Obviously, everybody can now see exactly what Chris is going to be doing and why we were dealing with a little bit of a wrench. But like he said, we were kind of trying to fit it in where we could. Chris knew he had some briefings and stuff this morning. We weren't sure exactly what time or how long they would last or where he was going to be able to set up. So we are going to do an abbreviated show. We're going to do over-unders, and that's it. I'm going to get out of here, get over to Ann Arbor, get into the stadium, and then Chris will show up. I think after aren't you going to miss a little bit of the first quarter? It sounds
a little bit of the first quarter. We're going to land in Ann Arbor, and then we're taking the convoy from Ann Arbor over to the big house. So I will be in the big house today shooting. I see that Tony Petrosky, one of my guys, is in the comments. Tony, make sure you get a good photo of those Blackhawks flying over today. Yeah. I might need that to be able to hang on the wall. Appreciate it.
There you go. All right, so Chris, let's get into it, man. Over-unders, we got 5 apiece. We'll see how long this show ends up lasting, and then, we'll get into the game day stuff a little later once we get to the stadium, and hopefully we'll see you walking around sometime in the second quarter.
Yes, sir. I will be there.
Listen, For those of you that don't know, Chris is a little bit of a cowboy. We don't want to lose him today. Chris, if they say to strap in,
I'm telling you,
If they say to sit down, sit down.
They're doing everything they can do to keep me wrangled in. I told them I wanted to be hanging from the bottom, just kind of like twirling around.
I can imagine.
But they're putting me in a good spot. They're putting me in the I think it's like the captain's chair or the spotter chair, so I can hang out the side. It's going to be incredible. But yeah, I'm amped up. Let me kick off the over-unders because I'm jacked up. I've got some diesel in me.
Attaboy.
It's actually unleaded. All right, so I'll kick it off. Let's go over-under, Brandon. I've got 170.5 yards combined rushing for Blake Corum and Donovan Edwards today. 170.5. Are we on the same page again?
So my number's a little lower, not much, but I had Dono and Blake 70.5 each. So that comes out to $140. I mean, we're 30 yards apart on the total. So I guess the question then comes down to, I looked at each guy both kind of doing their thing. Are you seeing it as Blake doing a little more or Dono doing a little more? Or it doesn't matter to you. It's just that total number.
To me, it's the total number because and we've talked about this before. Both guys are extremely explosive. It only takes, they're big play capable. We've seen that from both of these guys. We saw it from Blake Corum in week 1. Certainly saw it from Donovan Edwards a lot last year towards the latter part of the year. I'm not sure where it comes from, but if the number is 170.5 combined, I think they go over that today. I think this Michigan offensive line and these running backs are going to come out and try to make a statement. Even though they were, hey, we're glad that the passing game worked week 1. Those guys were not satisfied with their effort. And my hunch is they're going to try to prove a point against UNLV. So I'm taking the over on 170.5, which means I'm certainly over on yours.
Exactly, man. That's so close, man. I mean, you're talking 85 apiece. That's not a lot considering what these guys were able to do last year. But, we did kind of see maybe a little bit of a struggle, or at least a formula that ECU rolled out last week, and it did keep Michigan in check a little bit. So,
yeah.
I'm going to go with the over as well, Chris. I think I'm with you. They are going to prove a point. I don't think that UNLV is built quite like ECU is in terms of their defensive scheme, the size of their defensive linemen. ECU was comfortable selling out and putting 9 in the box, whereas UNLV plays a little more of a space game. They play 3 safeties a lot. They've got this different system. I think Michigan's going to be able to run the ball today.
And they also gave up a lot of rushing yards to Bryant.
Yes,
and I mean the rushing attack they're going to see today is worlds away from what they saw week 1. So that's another reason why I think Michigan's going to be pretty effective on the ground today. Was that your first one?
So yeah, that's
right out of the gate.
Basically, right there out of the gate. You can go back to your second one.
Okay, we saw it week 1. Obviously, the rushing game wasn't really working that well, as we alluded to. J.J. McCarthy, 30 attempts in week 1. I've got the over-under on attempts for McCarthy today at 29.5. Do we see another high productive afternoon out of J.J. McCarthy? 29.5 attempts.
I think I'm going to take the under this week. I think because of what we just said with the rushing attack, I think it's going to be much more effective. I think it's going to work a lot better. I still think JJ is going to throw it a good bit. You will see that from my upcoming over-under here in a minute. But as soon as you started your question and you focused on the attempts, I had 25 in my head. I think that's about where it'll be, 25, 26. That's just a shade under your number. I don't think it's going to be by a lot. I think they are going to say, look, the kid was dynamic last week. Let's keep it rolling. Let's keep him greased up. Let's make sure he's confident. Let's make sure he's throwing it. But I don't think they're going to have to quite as much against UNLV. So I'll say under, but only by a little bit, and only because I think the running game is going to be that much better.
Same. I mean, I see it slightly under. In my mind, I could see 27 pass attempts. He might go 24 or 27. I think it's going to be another efficient afternoon. Don't see him quite getting to 30, so I take the under slightly.
All right, so on that same note then, we've talked a lot about this touchdown passing record. We think it's falling this year. Last week, he threw 3 touchdowns, all to Roman Wilson. So I'm putting the number right back there. J.J. McCarthy over under 2.5 passing touchdowns.
Man, the over is tempting because it has to be. The over, it has to be. Oh, you know what? Damn it, Brandon. I'm going to go over. I think he has to have another 3 touchdown afternoon. I mean, we've talked about it before. That single season record of 25 is going down this year. Putting another 3 touchdowns on the board in week 2, I think is going to go a long way towards that. So give me the over on 2.5.
I think it's over too. I do. I think they run the ball at will. I think it's going to set up for a really effective play action. You might see a big one over the top to Roman Wilson. I think Colston Loveland gets into the end zone today. He was really good at getting open last week, had 4 grabs, but nothing. I don't think he was ever really close to the end zone on his catches, but I think they find him this week. And I don't know about that third one. Does Roman double up again? Does he end week 2 with 5 receiving touchdowns?
That is a perfect segue into my next over-under. I love it when it works this way. We saw it last week with Roman Wilson, 3 touchdown receptions, and we talked a little bit about it. I think I asked you, can he keep pace? Is this what we're going to see out of Roman Wilson for the season? But we have seen a tendency where you come out and you have a big game, and then the receivers kind of disappear for a few weeks. So my question to you, Brandon, 1.5 touchdown receptions for Roman Wilson today. 1.5. You taking the over-under?
That's a great number because I do think he scores. I do think he scores again. And maybe it's on a reverse. He did that last year. He scored on a reverse last year, so maybe it's not even through the air as a pass. That's, that eats into JJ's number a little bit. I'm going to take the under. I think he scores 1 today. I think Colston Loveland scores 1 today. And then, pick another guy. Is it Cornelius? Is it Donovan Edwards out of the background? Is it Blake Corum on a little screen? Does A.J. Barner post up for a red zone touch? I mean, you've got a lot of other guys that you can try to get the ball to. I do think Roman Wilson is off and running. I think he will score again, but I'm multi-touchdown. Like, I thought Blake Corum would score twice last week, and he didn't. So it's tough to predict that. I'll say 1 under.
You can't guard him. He's too dynamic. He's got to find the end zone at least twice today.
If he does, I won't be shocked in the slightest, but I'll say 1 score for Roman today. All right, this one's not an over-under, Chris. This is a pick'em. So it's still a 50-50 proposition, slightly different. I didn't want to just go with a number because I feel like it can fluctuate for a lot of different reasons, but I'm going to pitch it to you like this. Michigan's leading, not necessarily leading tackler, more tackles today. Ernest Hausman, Junior Colson.
Ooh.
Last week it was Hausman.
Give me Junebug. Give me Junior Colson. I mean, leading tackler from last year. The guy is just a physical specimen. I think, week 1, you got a lot of guys into the rotation. I still think they're going to get a lot of guys in the rotation. But to me, if I had to pick one or the other, give me Junior Colson for a big afternoon.
I've been high on Hausman all year. He had 6 tackles last week. I think Junior Colson had 5. So they're right there. Barrett, same thing. All 3 of these guys are going to be in the mix a lot. It's tough to take any one of them off the field. And I think you could just roll the dice and pick one. Okay, we got to take a linebacker out. This time it's Colson. This time it's Hausman. This time it's Barrett. It just depends on who's doing what and kind of what the secondary is looking like. I will take Junior as well this week. I think if UNLV does want to run the ball, which they're a pretty good offense. They're balanced. They've got some speed on the outside, but they do want to run the ball. I think their quarterback can run it a little bit too.
Yep.
So I'll take Junior in the middle right there to edge Hausman this week.
Well, since you asked that question, let's stay with defense here, and I have a hunch this might be on your list. If it's not, phenomenal. One of the concerns that we had following the week 1 performance was Michigan didn't get to the quarterback at all. Mm-hmm. I think I had the over-under set at 4.5 because we thought it was just going to be sack city. Turns out that wasn't the case. So my question to you, Brandon, this afternoon, UNLV Big House, I've got the Michigan defense sacks at 2.5. 2.5. Well,
I've got it at 3.5. So what do we want to do here, Chris? What do we want to do? I've said 3.5.
I'm a little snake bitten. Snake bitten. They've got a mobile quarterback. I think they're going to try to do the same thing that ECU did. Get rid of the ball quickly. Don't be in the pocket for too long. And if you got a guy who's mobile, take it and tuck it and run. They have so many guys, edge rushers, guys up front, linebackers. I find it hard to believe they're not going to find their way to the quarterback a few times today. So I'm taking the over on 2.5.
Okay.
I'm going to take the under on 3.5.
So you think I feel that way too. I had 2.5 originally, and I'm like, everybody's taking the over on that. I'm going to bump it up 1. And it made me pause a little bit, but I'm with you. I think it's like 3. I think they get 3 sacks today. Maybe it is 3.5. I mean, you can get half sacks, so maybe it's right on that mark, but I'm with you, man. Last week, I thought they would have been able to get there. It turns out, and I was wrong about this. I'll flat out admit that I was wrong because I remember after the game, I said I didn't feel like ECU was getting rid of it all that quickly, and they absolutely were. I mean, somebody did the numbers, and it was an extremely quick release by that quarterback, so you start to understand why Michigan couldn't get home. I don't know what we're going to see out of UNLV today, but somebody's got to get there. They can't go 2 weeks in a row without a sack.
Not that group.
You heard it. I'll say 3.
We heard it from some of the players this week. Braden McGregor particularly, they're
they
aware
want
of it. They
Yeah.
want, they're hungry to get to the quarterback. So I'm going to take the over on 2.5.
All right, there you go. So back to you again, because that was my same question too.
Let's stay with it. All right, Brandon. This is kind of an overall for the offense today. I know Blake Corum broke free. I think it was for 34, 35, 36 yards, something like that. What is the longest play today by the Michigan offense? The longest play of the day. I've got the over-under set at 65.5 yards.
Wow.
For the longest play of the day. I know it's a big number, but it feels like this offense is big play capable. We know it is. Blake Corum, Donovan Edwards, Roman Wilson. You got a lot of weapons out there. 65.5 today.
I'm going to take the under just because that's a big-ass number. I mean, I do think Michigan will have a couple big plays. Roman Wilson's touchdown to start the scoring last year was a real long play off the bubble screen.
Yeah.
That was 60. That was 61. That's just 66 yards is a long play. They certainly had them. They had multiple against Ohio State. But that's a really big number. So I'll take the under. But I do think Michigan will have a couple big plays. Like I said, I could see the run game working better there for a play action ball to Roman Wilson or something being pretty long. But 65 is long. I'll take the under on that.
You know what, Brandon? I'm taking the over. I'm taking the over.
I have big boy.
I've got visions in my head. They're backed up against the end zone. Blake Corum takes the ball, flashes up the number 2 on the way to the end zone. That's what I see happening today. Give me the over.
All right. It's interesting that you went that way, and I did the opposite. I went with UNLV's offense and Michigan's defense. How about UNLV's longest offensive play? And they've got some explosive capabilities with their athletes.
Yeah.
UNLV's longest play, 35.5 yards over under. Does Michigan give up a big one? Because they did not against ECU.
No, give me the under because I think you're also going to get back Will Johnson and Rod Moore today. So give me the under. That Michigan defense is stout. Jesse Minter's proven that he can continue what Mike McDonald built. I just think they are one of the elite defenses in college football, and I don't think they're going to make many mistakes. Dude, they got veteran talent all across the board.
I'm going to take the under too. I think Michigan. I'm with you. I think defense is locked in. I think Minter. He's going to be even more focused this week. He's not doing any head coaching duties. Right. He's going to be focusing only on his defense. He's had all week to prepare for a UNLV team that did look pretty good. I mean, it's Bryant. They played Bryant. I don't know how much you can really get from that, but they did show some ability to hit a big play here. They, like you said, they ran the ball very well. But, yeah, in the big house against Michigan all the way across the country, that's a completely different animal. So I'm going to take the under on that as well. So there you have it.
I love it.
Breeze through our over-under segment in about 15 minutes. I mean, Chris, we started off with the Victor's plan. Your shirt says it. You've got the helicopter back there. Are you calling some guests in right now? Is that
just one special guest here? One special guest
getting ready to come
the guy who makes it happen. If you've done anything NIL related, you've seen this guy's mug. Jared Johnson. He's the guy making it all happen. Once again, it's going to be, it's a once in a lifetime type of thing, man.
Look at him too. I mean, just
look at him pointing, directing.
Hey, this is your face mask.
Is this okay? So I get a face mask today. So look for this. Oh my goodness! Look,
Chris, we can. Oh, dude, that's bad.
Oh. Can I have this?
We can hear him too if he wants to talk at all. Your mic is picking him up.
It's picking. Yeah. Is there anything you want to say? Anything you want to say about today?
Super excited. It was his idea, so kudos to you. We pulled it off, and just super excited for Michigan to do this for the veterans. And it's never been done.
Yeah.
As usual, we're doing things that have never been.
It's going to be incredible, and that's the thing I'm excited about. Is like I said earlier, I talked to a lot of these guys that are going up, and for them, it's their first time. So we all get to share this experience together, and then another gentleman here. There you go.
Situation, so
nice.
Just making things happen out here in Grand Ledge. Yep. I can't wait to get to Ann Arbor. Can't wait to have this experience. More importantly, I can't wait to put together, I've captured a lot of good film already and put together this little mini documentary so that you guys can see, what it's like being part of the Michigan Army National Guard, going up into Black Hawk and doing a flyover of Michigan Stadium on game day.
So freaking cool, dude. Like I said, we'll be looking for you. What shoes are we going with today, Chris? Are we going to see shoes dangling out? What do we got?
We got the Yeezys with the blue stripe.
Okay.
I wanted to match a little bit, be a little tactical. I didn't want laces flying everywhere. You will see me hanging out the side. There's no doubt.
So look for Chris's blue racing stripes and
Just look for this bad boy right here. I mean
it
this
doesn't
is
get
very fitting. This is what I look like in the morning.
All right, safe travels to Mr. Breiler up there. If you're at the stadium, real quick, do you know the formation and which one you're going to be in?
Yeah, so I will be in the very last helicopter, hanging out the side, filming the two ahead of us as they fly over and make the approach. So third helicopter.
Keep an eye out for Chris. Pumped, dude. I can't wait. I won't actually see you in person until the game's over. But
from Chrysler.
Yeah, from Chrysler, we'll do our post-game show from there. Super excited to catch up with you about it, man. Have fun, good luck, safe travels.
Appreciate it.
Go Blue, as Jared Johnson just said.
Go Blue.
He's looking sharp, dude. He got the fade done today.
I mean, he's always looking crispy. Always looking crispy.
All right, we'll see everybody after the game. Take care.